All right. We need to take up anything before I call a case?
No, Judge.
No, Your Honor.
All right, let's be on the record. Case number 2016-CR979, caption State of Kansas versus Philip Johnson. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
State of Kansas appears by and through Assistant District Attorney Garrett Ralph.
Your Honor, Mr. Johnson appears in person. Counsel Vincent Rivera, we're appearing on video.
All right. So we were originally set down, I think, for a plea in the new case and a revo, or in this case, maybe it was a status. I think it was a status. Anyway, that case wasn't ready to go forward at the time, but the parties requested that we take up the revocation today. So that's what we're here for. I've received, and I'm currently sharing with all participants, a copy of the report from the probation officer for today's hearing. It summarizes the allegations in the violation and the recommendations. I'm going to mark it State's Exhibit number 1. Any objection to it being received? Hearing no objection, it will be received. I'm sorry. Did I jump in front of you there, Mr. Rivera?
Yeah, I actually don't think I've received that.
You're on the distribution list here. Let me see. Do you want to just read it off my saved screen here, or do you want me to forward this to you?
I mean, if you could forward it to me, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I got to do this.
I'll just send you a copy as well.
I don't know what happened, Joseph. Your distribution list, well, it didn't have Garrett on it, but it has Vinny on it.
Okay.
So I should have received it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
believe so.
Yesterday, let's see. No, when was this?
I believe I sent this out this morning.
Yeah,
Yes.
8:15 a.m. this morning. Mr. Rivera, if you need a breakout room with your client after you've read it.
I'm almost done here.
Okay.
Okay, Judge, I have had a chance to review this.
Do you need any time with your client privately, or are you good?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. All right. So as I said, here, let's pull this up. So we're all.
And Judge, the other hearing, it was set for a preliminary hearing. We had discussed, I was needing to request a continuance with my victim being out of town. Defense stated that they were going to object. We tried to handle it ahead of time so that we wouldn't have to appear in person.
Right.
And then you said you were going to dismiss without prejudice, this being the second continuance.
Correct. Correct.
Correct.
And I wrote that on the docket sheet yesterday. Now, thanks for reminding me of
Yeah.
that. So an order should probably be submitted through e-filing on that other case showing that. Is it your intent to refile that today, Mr. Ralph?
Today, no. Not today.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we're here for the revocation hearing then. I've reviewed the motion for revocation and also the report from Mr. McSorley today. I'm going to mark that state's exhibit number 1. Any objection to it being received?
No.
Hearing no objection, it will be received. Comments on, I'm sorry, Mr. Rivera, have you and your client had an opportunity to go over the allegations in the motion? And does Mr. Johnson have a position on those today?
Yes, Judge. I've reviewed with him his ability to contest those. We would stipulate to the allegations except for the new law violation. So I believe that would leave us with essentially failure to report on 12/23 and 12/30, some positive tests for drugs, some missed UAs, failure to comply with substance abuse, failure to comply with mental health, and some failure to make payments.
All right. Mr. Ralph, you accept those stipulations?
Yes, Judge.
All right. I'll find the defendant has stipulated to those violations with the exception of the violation, the new charges one. All right. Comments, Mr. Ralph, on your request for disposition today?
Judge, it appears as if when he was initially sentenced, it was 26 months for the conviction of robbery. While on supervision, he was granted 24 months of supervision. The prior case was revoked, but instead of sending him to prison under Special Rule 9 for this particular case, he was granted probation. I think at best, his participation and success can be considered spotty. Some of the things he has done, he has reported off and on. However, others, such as drug treatment, taking his meds, he has willfully ignored. He's tested positive more than once, despite apparently telling the probation officer that the meds were helping him. At one point, he then stopped taking them within the span of, it appears, in a few months, and then was self-medicating through weed. We combine that with the failure to appear and the lack of follow through on any sort of substance abuse treatment, and the initial break that he was given by granting probation on the conviction of robbery while under Special Rule 9. State feels that he has been given enough breaks and is asking that you follow the recommendation that the probation be revoked and he be ordered to serve his underlying sentence.
All right, Mr. Rivera.
Judge, this is Mr. Johnson's first probation violation. He's been in custody now for about 4 months. I want to say since the beginning of April. I can tell the court before he was in custody, was working steadily, doing foundation repair. He had about 10, 15 years of experience doing that. While he's been locked up now, he's been taking what courses he has available to him on the, I believe through the tablet. He has received certification, offenders correction about reintegration. He's completed 12-step reflection recovery, and he has done substance abuse through the media that's available in custody. So we're asking the court to reinstate him, being, I think, the 4-month sentence I believe is sufficient. And if we're to go back to the initial case here, there was, I believe, some mental health issues that really were kind of the crux of why this offense happened initially. And I think what we see with Mr. Johnson is kind of the unfortunate cycle of, he gets better, things start going well, and then he kind of falls back off the map, gets into trouble, then he gets back on track. So I would take issue that this is any kind of willing failure to comply. I think it's more larger. Mental health is kind of more of the larger issue here, combined with some substance abuse / self medication. I've talked with him at length about kind of what his plan is when he gets out of here. And I've always, and ever since I first met him, I've always thought it was very interesting that the man in these police reports that we always hear about is never the same guy that I meet. And I think that, again, it kind of goes to these cycles that he goes through. I mean, and from talking with him, I think he understands very well what a lot of his triggers are and a lot of the things that get him off script, so to speak. And I think really just when he works on those and he does those things that he needs to, he is, he's smart, articulate, intelligent, knows how to talk to people. But again, when he gets on the drugs, when he gets started drinking, he's just a totally different person. And I think that's really kind of the struggle here. And additionally, he did have some transportation issues, which did account for some of his trouble reporting.
All right.
And so, Judge, I'm sorry, we are asking to reinstate him.
All right. So let me, I'm gonna obviously hear from Mr. Johnson before I do anything here, but I want to make sure that we're not overthinking the whole thing. So here's my question for both parties, if you know. Will the decision to refile the case have anything to do with what I decide to do with this today? And if so, is that something that can be worked out? In other words, look, I dismiss this case, and maybe Mr. Ralph looks at it and says, well, if the judge sends him for 2 years, or however much he still owes, then I'm not going to bother filing that new case. And or Mr. Rivera, you may be thinking that, you stipulated to everything except the new charges, which at this point don't exist. So that makes sense. But they turn around and file new charges, then they can file an immediate new motion for revocation based on new charges. And let's face it, the chances of me sending him on the basis of him having a new charge, particularly if it gets past probable cause and certainly to a conviction, is much higher than if it's just that he didn't do his drug treatment for a while he's on there. So what I don't want to do is give everybody the wrong idea and say, okay, I'm not going to revoke him. I'm going to reinstate him on his probation and extend him. And then Mr. Ralph turns around and goes, well, I'm going to file those new charges. And we come back here in 3 months while Mr. Johnson still sits there. And I say, well, now that he's passed prelim on his new charges, I'm sending him on that. So my question is this: are we right for a decision on this, or do you guys need to talk about and maybe see if there's a way to come to an agreement on, we agree to this or that to resolve both of these cases? If you tell me I'm way off base, I'm fine with that, but just let me know, because I don't want to just, I don't want Mr. Johnson to feel like we're playing games. Okay, he's not going to get revoked, but we all know that he will later on, or something like that. So, Mr. Ralph, I'd hear from you first.
Judge, I certainly don't want to put Vinny or his client on the spot here. I've talked with the victim in this case. I know what outcome that she would like to see. And if he is revoked on the current 2016 case, I don't see us refiling the new case. If that needs to be put in writing for Mr. Rivera and his client to feel comfortable before they make a decision on it, that's fine. And I understand this is not something that Vinny and I had discussed. So I certainly don't want to have to, make him feel like he has to make this decision today. If we need to continue it for that, I'm more than happy to do so.
So what I'm hearing and making sure that I'm hearing the same thing that Mr. Rivera is hearing is if I revoke him, you're not planning on refiling. Can you say with any certainty if the other aspect is true, is if I don't revoke him today, are you definitely refiling?
No, I can't say that for sure either.
Okay, all right. Mr. Rivera.
Judge, I guess I would just say, if they did end up refiling and we're back here in that scenario in 3 months, I would like to be able to say that we're back in front of you with, 3 months of compliance and 3 months of good behavior to help support our position. And I think, well, to quote a judge I used to be in front of, I've never sent anyone to prison, but I've had a lot of people send themselves to prison. I think basically, again, I think we would just use that 3 months to show the court that we are in compliance and doing what we need to do. So.
All right. Mr. Johnson, before I decide what to do here today, I'm going to give you, first of all, let me ask Mr. McSorley, anything you want to add to your report today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Johnson, things you want me to know, help me decide what I should do today.
Your Honor, in the past, yeah, I did have some problems, and due to the situation of doing so much time and losing every supporting factor I had, I got out with nothing. I didn't have a family, I didn't have a job, a house, a car. I got out with nothing, literally with the clothes on my back and $40. And it's not easy for a person to try to regain everything in a short amount of time. And since, being on probation, I got out and had a little spot to stay while I was trying to get my stuff together. Me and my PO, yeah, I didn't trust him at first because I'm just skeptical of everybody, due to the situations of the past and being incarcerated. I come to like him and know him, and then, the things he was wanting me to do, I was trying my best to fulfill. There was no problem with communication with us. I told him, if he asked me, I told him there was no lies or no BS. I told when he was like, well, I'm gonna violate you for, testing dirty. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. And then due to me not finishing the drug and alcohol treatment, I was like, well, let's go in front of the judge and extend it a little bit so I can have time to complete it. It wasn't I was trying to run from this or willingly try to, evade any punishment. I put my hand up to everything, and he can even testify to it. The time missed to one court, I still called him and let him know, hey, I ain't trying to BS you. Stuff is getting worse out here. Since then I lost my wallet with everything in it, birth certificate, Social Security. I had a major surgery, $14,000 in debt thanks to it, on top of what I'm going through here. The situations is, yeah, it was kind of up and down, but I didn't have a good, strong mental foundation. Yeah, the medication thing was on and off. I get on some new prescriptions. It just didn't sit well with me, so I have to detox out of them to figure out what works. That's always the situation with medication. You can't just be on one pill and it works. You have to experiment, and sometimes that experimentation costs somebody. In this sense, it cost me. I'm not opposed to the violations. I told him I do the 2 to 3 day. It was a 3-day sanction and a continuation for the probation for a year. I was going to do that willingly. It wasn't that I was trying to run from it. I didn't fight him on it. I just told him, hey, let's do it. As of right now, yeah, it's still kind of shaky with the pandemic going on, but I have something I didn't have then, was a good, stable mental foundation right now. I've been clean on everything. I even talked to mental health while I've been in here. They don't recommend me being on medication. They said medication is not the issue here. It was just the shame, guilt, and anger that I have within me. I finally released it and accepted who I am, you know. I do have a good work history. I am a good guy. I still have a lot of things planned, you know, and I still have a little resources where I can get out and take a hold of that, you know. I did what I could with what I had, which wasn't a lot, but I was trying. That's just the whole basis here. I'm still trying. I'm listening to everything that's going on in this courtroom, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Judge. I barely understand half the stuff that's going on. I just need another chance to get out and do right. It's not that I'm trying to do wrong. You know, 8 years of prison, pretty much everything in my 20s. I'm 29 now, so my whole 20s has been in jail. There is really no chance. The opportunity is really it's there, but it's not there. You can't put 8 years of prison on a man, expect for him to get out in society that he doesn't know and be successful with nothing. That's just rational. That's irrational to the point. But right now, I'm learning. I got better, and I'm striving to do better.
All right. Well, look, Mr. Johnson, here's one of the problems that I have. I get drug problems and mental health problems. And look, these lawyers have probably heard me say it more times than they ever want to. I don't send people to prison for being addicts. I think it's stupid. It doesn't help. Having a drug problem and getting sent to prison, very few people that I know of has that helped them overcome their addiction. You know, it's as you say, a mental health, a physical health issue, and that's where it's best dealt with. The problem that I have with you and what's different here than in other places are you're not getting picked up for possession of drugs or
Right.
even petty thefts. You're not, stealing cars and then boofering them to get drug money or, breaking into houses and stealing things or stealing copper. So far, what I've seen is over the last 10 years or so, 2 robberies, and then this case that just got dismissed, which is the looked like you had a pretty serious dust up with your girlfriend in this. I know those charges are gone, and I'm not treating these like a conviction or anything like that. Look, I think you talk a pretty good game. I'm going to look, if these charges were still going forward, if we'd had a preliminary hearing and that victim had come in and testified and I bound you over for trial, I would be sending you to prison on your revocation based on that alone, without all the other things. But that didn't happen. That case at this time stands dismissed, and I have to treat it like that. So given that, I walk back to the point where I'm considering the fact that you were given departure on your second robbery charge, but you were only violating at this point on not getting your drug treatment, testing dirty, and kind of being off and on your mental health meds. I'm going to reinstate your probation, give you your 3 days with credit for the time that you've been in, and reinstate you and extend you for how much time does he have left as it is right now, Mr. McSorley?
He's expired by 5 months now. So we would
He
need
is expired because it's been pending this whole time. All right,
that is correct.
I'm going to extend him a full year, but this is what I'm going to do. I want to set this, and I'll get everybody a date here. I'm going to set this in about between 60 and 90 days for a status hearing. Now, are you still will you be his supervisor again, Mr. McSorley?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Joseph, if 60 days goes by and Mr. Johnson's doing everything he needs to do, then you just let me know and I'll cancel our hearing. But I'm not just gonna let this one go because frankly, this is one of those cases that I'm concerned. And heck, Mr. McSorley had to sit here the other day and watch me do this. And the rationale I gave for not sending the guy was all he was doing was using drugs, and he wasn't hurting other people. Well, that's not the case here. So I really feel like I'm taking a flyer on giving Mr. Johnson another chance. But I'm going to do it, maybe against my best judgment, so that he has an opportunity. And you know what? I hadn't heard that phrase your lawyer said earlier, Mr. Johnson, but I think it's really apropos in this case that if we come back and I end up sending you to prison on this stuff, it won't be me that sent you to prison. It'll be yourself. I think that's really true. So let's look at, let's say September, October. I said between 60 and 90 days. How about October 19th at 9 o'clock in the morning by Zoom again, for a status hearing?
I'm sure I'm open.
October 19, 9 a.m.
I'll be there.
Question,
Yes.
where am I supposed to be at? Should I be at your office, PO, or
Well, yeah,
You-
we'll
I
review
don't,
that.
I don't have a computer.
We'll deal with that when we
You'll
get there.
keep in touch with Mr. McSorley and Mr. Rivera. They'll set you up. We're working on something in the courthouse right now for people who don't have access when we do Zoom, for you
Okay.
to be able to go to this room. We don't have it set up yet, but I'll be surprised, very surprised if we don't have it before that date. And guess what, Mr. Johnson?
Yes,
You
sir.
have the opportunity for all of us to be able to take that off our calendar and never have to show up. If you're doing everything you need to do, Mr. McSorley's going to let me know that about a week or so before court, and we're just going to call it off. But if you're not, it'll just be, you know, hopefully you'll have enough to have a toothbrush to take with you because you'll be in for a couple of years. You understand that?
I understand.
know
I'm
it's
sorry,
like, yeah, I kind of joke and all that, but it's
It was-
deadly serious. You'll be
I understand.
going. There's not going to be another chance. You understand that?
I do understand, and I appreciate it.
Judge,
All
you
right.
mind if I bow out for I have another Zoom hearing at 1:30?
You got the date. We're all good.
Yes.
I'll adjourn the hearing right now, and you can take off. Yeah, Mr. McSorley.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, you remember where to find me, right?
Yep.
All right.
Nah.
I'm not sure what time you'll get released today, but make sure you report here by tomorrow morning if you're not out by 5 today.
I got you.
Joseph,
right.
will you print me out a order of release and email it to me? I'll sign it and get it back to you in the jail.
Absolutely, will do.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Rivera?
Judge, I was gonna say, in case you're curious, are we off the record?
We are off the record.
Okay, in case you're curious, I was Judge Hebert out of Saline County. That was the first judge I used to ever appear in front of. And the other thing I was gonna ask,
It
is
wasn't
if I could get,
Mary Thrower, was it?
no, Judge Hebert
Oh,
in Salina. I
Uh-huh.
started out in Salina. Yeah, he used to tell that to people all the time. But I was gonna ask if I could just get a moment with him in a breakout room.
Sure. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to
Mhm.
I'm going to leave the meeting, but I'm going to make you the administrator. So all the rest of us will leave and it'll just be you and your client. You close out when you're done.
Sure.
All right.
I'll
Thanks,
have
sir.
this to you in just a minute.
Okay. Thank you, Joseph.
All right. Thank you.
Everybody's gonna leave except you and your attorney.
What's up, Vinny? I see you sweating
Hold that
bullets
one.
over there. Can I take this?
Dude, I really thought we were
Yeah.
gonna buy it there for a second. So yeah, I mean, like you said, the writing's on the wall. It's on you.
Hey, it's all good, man. I can't wait to just have everybody have a day off that day.
I feel you. So you have my contact info?
I do have it, man. I got it memorized
Okay.
up here.
The other thing, your attorney from Brown and Crouppen
Emailed you
he
some
emailed me
papers.
something to get you to sign, but then this turned into video court, and so
Yeah.
I told him I would get your address for him to send it. So do you know where you're going to be staying?
Most likely with my sister. I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth until I can get that check and get something stable. That was the
He's trying to
thing.
get you. He's trying to get you paid. So
Is there any way you can sign that for me? I mean, you got verbal consent.
no,
over
I
the-
mean I'm not power of attorney or anything.
Can I grant you temporary power of attorney for like 5 seconds?
Honestly,
Just sign
man,
it for me?
I don't even know if we can do that without paperwork. I've never actually. That's more civil law.
I mean, video.
Okay, well, how
consent-
about this? Let me get you his number. Do you got a piece of paper right there?
I still got the 314 number. 314-712-3694.
314.
712. Yeah, 3694. I have his number. I got everything up here. You know, it's a power.
Okay.
Over can do.
Just call him. 3694. I've got 314-561-6320.
That's a different number. That's one.
Okay.
This number I'm calling is like a cell phone number.
Okay. Do you remember? Okay, and do you remember dude's name?
Yeah, it's whatchamacallit, Hillbrand.
Joseph Hill. Yeah. Okay, and this is real easy. The main number for that office, 314-222-222-222-222.
Yeah, I got the paperwork in the room.
Okay. Give him a holler. I'll just tell him you're calling him. Like I said, man, I'm not going to tell you. Here's the deal. I'm not going to tell you what to do because you know what you need to do.
Yeah. That's
All
going
right,
to help
bud.
me if I can get the signed and sent to him today, but that kind of just fucks me a little bit longer.
All right, man. So again, just think of that person you want to be and be that person.
Well, as of right now, I am that person. I'm trying to get things done. That's why I hope I can get you to sign that paper and it just.
Yeah, I can't do that, and even then you'd still have to come find me to get the money, even if they sent me the check.
What it is I'm signing that paper so he can distribute the check to the name that I put in the check until the address says on file. It's not coming to you.
Sure.
He just needs
Well,
permission.
I know. I was joking about that.
Well, I can find you. You're not hard to find.
All right, bud.
If I get out today, man, I give him a call and try to get everything situated. I appreciate it.
No
I
problem,
wish I had
sir.
a fax machine.
All right.
I'll see you in probably never again because this court date is
Hopefully,
definitely not going to happen.
you.
It's my birthday
That's up to you.
month, actually. Hold on, what time did you say? 9 o'clock?
9 a.m.
It doesn't matter because we ain't going there anyway.
All right, it's up to you.
You know what? It's up to us.
Mhm.
Me and the power above. Let's do it. I appreciate it, man.
bud.
He didn't tell me what I rate you.
Tell
He
me
was
what?
like, what do you rate your lawyer? You don't remember? I was gonna rate you 4 stars after the other one's dim.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that.
Get out of here, Vinny, man. Take it easy. I appreciate you.
I'll take it back.
All right, bud. Later.
Oh, okay.